So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. And sorry if I blew anyone's eardrums out because I was very close to my microphone there when I said good evening. But yeah, we're in a bit of a lull period now, and myself and Paddy have been asked a couple of times via DM, via email, via Twitter DMs, Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs. If you aren't following on Facebook and Instagram, we would really appreciate it in case there's just no one left working in Twitter to keep the application going anymore. You know, that would be an absolute shame considering that's where I spend most of my time. But we've been asked a couple of times to have a little chat about the World Cup, and we've kind of farted around it now for long enough, and with it starting on Sunday, I think it's about time to have a bit of a conversation. We will be getting to that in a moment, but also we've been contacted by you wonderful, wonderful people to ask us about the podcast we did during the week with Mr. Martin O'Neill, how it came about and everything, because it was a real whirlwind. As with an awful lot of what happens in this podcast, usually something happens at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we've it all wrapped up by like 2 or 3 o'clock, and we've no time to prepare for anything, and we've no time, and it's literally seat of the pants stuff. And genuinely, I mean that in a lot of these things. The same thing with Graham Hunter. The same thing with when it was Aston Sky Sports. You know, literally, it's can you do it within the next 2 hours, and you just kind of have to make it happen. But Paddy, you specifically, there was a couple of people who reached out to you and asked you about what the experience was like.
Yeah, and it was kind of a surreal experience, really, wasn't it? Because I had got a message on the Saturday to say that somebody was meeting them and was going to put in a word, and I said it to you, but kind of wasn't leaning too much towards it happening. And then was it Tuesday morning? I woke up to the message saying, Martin will come and have a chat with you today. And you know, when you're lying in bed getting a message like that, I just froze.
Last time Paddy got a message like that, he was in his early 20s. Wait a minute, did he even have mobile phones when you were in your early 20s, Paddy? Sorry, I don't want to miss.
Well, he did, yeah. Just about. Yeah, but like the only a couple of people have asked me what was it like. I remember going on holidays years ago and bumping into my English teacher, who was a very stern character, and having to talk to him and having a beer with him, and that's exactly what it felt like talking to Martin O'Neill, because I was worried that whatever was said, he was going to take offence to, or shout back at you or something. And there was a couple of times during the interview that could have happened, but it didn't. And I just found it to be a very pleasant experience, a little bit nerve-wracking, but very pleasant experience, and very kind of him to come on and have a chat with us.
Yeah, I was the same. I didn't know what way it would go. We initially only had agreed like 15, 20 minutes of a podcast. And like when I say that, you know, that this just happened on the day, as Paddy mentioned there, he gets a message at like stupid o'clock in the morning saying, lads, you've got a window today, and this is when you can do it. But Paddy had been in conversations with him for nearly 3 weeks prior to that, or with people about 3 weeks prior to that. We thought that we would get him on, you know, earlier than we did, but we were just, as I say, grateful to get him on when it did happen. But like he was very open and honest. Like I asked him prior, I said, "Is there anywhere we can't go with regards to this?" He goes, "No, ask me anything." And you know, he had done 2 hours nearly on TalkSport that day. He'd been on the Claret Blue podcast, and they had gone over a lot of road, and we didn't want to go over the same questions with Martin either. So I know that a couple of the questions I asked specifically were flippant, but I really wanted to know, where the hell did you pluck Sally Foo out of? And second of all, was there any truth in the Falcao rumour? Because if I have to look at another Paddy Power sketch of Falcao over Heskey or Heskey over Falcao, I had to know whether it was true. And I will admit, I'm not quite sure I got an answer to that, other than he went, oh, well, it never came across my... He didn't deny it nor confirm it, but it was interesting to see that, that, look, I appreciated the answer that was given anyway, for sure, with regards to that, because it was, like, as I say, everything was fair game. And there was actually a rather interesting part that we cut out of the podcast. You might notice, if you watched it, that there's an advert for his book in the middle of the podcast. He was left minding two little dogs, and the two little dogs went absolutely nuts at one stage, and he had to go and look after the two dogs for a period of time. So we couldn't cut and then get it back into the room and re-interview again. So we just left it run in the background. But he was actually that was the reason why that was there. But just a very down to earth person, I felt. Yeah, for sure.
And what you say is correct. Obviously, when someone releases a book, you get 1,000,001 interviews. He was on the Late Late Show here in Ireland, as you say. He was on Claret and Blue. All of these things were dropping in, even though we knew there was an outside chance that this might happen. All the questions were being answered, so we just tried to, just shoot the breeze with him, as opposed to grill him about stuff. He even took it upon himself to say that he regretted how it ended at Aston Villa. We didn't bring that up because it was brought up ad nauseum everywhere he went. So what was the point? So it was just enjoyable to just talk, and he went back and made a point of mentioning it, and obviously it's an important part of it, but we weren't going to bring it up. We were going to leave him at it.
Yeah, for sure. But no, one of the, a definite look. I know that he's not. A lot of people will still take more to forgive him for leaving 5 days before the start of the season, and he has, I think, he more or less said words to that effect, if not exactly those words, on the podcast as well. But it was good. Like that was a big moment, I think, for us to be able to chat to somebody like that, an ex-manager of the club, manager of our country.
What I enjoyed in the aftermath of it was all the messages that people sent saying, okay, now we have a bit of closure, and it's incidents like that you don't normally get closure. It's very hard to speak to a manager, like that's only happened in the last 12 years. So to be able to speak to him about it while it's still relatively fresh within a generation, it was nice to get some closure on it and chat about it. And you could see, and I don't know how it came across to everybody that listened, but he was very, very genuine in everything he said to us while he was talking. Even to the extent of what you said when he said, no, talk away, ask anything you like. So, it was, and thanks to everybody that sent the messages afterwards and the comments, and there was a couple of people who weren't happy with it. That's absolutely fine. I'm glad that some people got closure with what he had to say, and some people will never get closure. Some people will always see it for how they saw it, and that's absolutely fine too. None of us are right. It's just how we deal with the situation.
Exactly, and it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. Like the water is under the bridge, whether we like it or not. And as I say, people can talk hard. People can talk respectfully, I suppose, about it now, 10 years after the fact. And look, I suppose that's really it. And I was just delighted to have the opportunity to do it. Like, those things don't happen. And look, Paddy, actually, did the book come in the interim?
My book arrived today,
and as he hands it and shows it to me on the bloody screen, that was very Alan Partridge almost there. Did the book come?
But there's two important things, because some people send some derogatory messages as well. We didn't pay for Martin O'Neill. He came on and just he did it for free.
Which is great.
He also did not send me a free book. I bought the book and it arrived today. And I would have bought the book anyway to support him, because he's given me such incredible memories. So Anyway, there you go. That's my closure on the Martin O'Neill subject with Aston Villa. And I really enjoyed the other day, as much as I was nervous because, it's not really my thing to be
Yeah,
interviewing lads like that. But
exactly.
you usually do these things by yourself.
Yeah, as I say, when you can't shut up, it's a blessing and a curse at times. So yeah, listen, thanks ever so much to everybody. If you haven't listened to it, we would really appreciate it if you would listen to it, because we thought it was a good listen, and specifically if you're an Irish football fan as well, we covered a small bit of ground in that too. And look, as I say, we were coming at this from a double angle there as well, which was good too. But anyway, unfortunately, speaking of Irish football, our Irish football team look like they're never going to qualify for a World Cup again. The way things are going. But some teams have qualified for a World Cup. Look, I suppose we're not going to beat around the bush here about this. A very controversial World Cup. A World Cup that has divided a lot of people as a spider crawls up my neck. I feel like I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. I'm a Villa fan. Get me out of here. But yeah, so we have a controversial World Cup. I think no two ways about it. There's a lot being said since the very first day that Qatar were named as the host nation of this World Cup. Logistically, everybody looked at it and went, "Wow, this is going to be different. It's going to play havoc with the season." And immediately you heard there was questions, there was rumors about impropriety with regards to the awarding of the Qatar World Cup. I look, I'm not going to sit here and make accusations about anything, but I would imagine that we'll never know the full story about it, but putting two and two together, you could imagine that there's obviously raids on FIFA previously over the last 4 or 5 years, and maybe in connection with that. Look, as I say, we don't want to get down that from the alleged legal proceedings and stuff that have happened and have been dropped and things like that, with obviously likes of Platini and Blatter and those. But look, we're at a weird time of the year having a World Cup. And we're having a World Cup in a place that, I'll be honest with you, doesn't really sit too well. Because, as I say, it's been a case of plow ahead with the World Cup and let's not care about the people. Let's not care about human life. People have mentioned it in the comments there, and it's important to mention these things without being hypocritical at other times. Humans, lots of human life has been lost to build these stadiums. People were brought there as migrant workers and had their passports taken off them. I personally would not like to be brought to a country and have my passport taken off me. I personally would not like to be told I wasn't allowed to do X, Y, and Z well, I suppose that's not fair. I suppose obviously because you can't go and drive on the wrong side of the road in the country. But you know what I mean. I wouldn't. There's obviously the LGBTQ issue with the fact that it's caused a storm over there. The Harry Kane says he's still going to wear the One Love band armband, captain's armband that he has. We'll see if that happens. You see Denmark have come out with their I'm not going to say it's a blacked out strip, but you know what it is. It's a dulled down strip from the point of view of Hummel don't want to be prominent on the jersey and stuff like that. And look, the human rights record is something that we're going to bring up, and I'm going to sit here and say it don't sit well with me. It really doesn't sit well with me, and people can look at me and say, hey, listen, good thing I'm not over there because I'm made of one big snowflake. That's fine. Look, I just don't like to see people die. I really don't. I don't like to see people taken advantage of. I don't like to see the situations that have happened even today. And I'm not talking about the beer not being sold. I think that's just stupid. To be honest with you, that shouldn't. There's a lot in that, and I won't even get into it. From a commercial point of view, they've just run a horse and carriage through FIFA's plans with regards to that. There will be lawyers involved in that. There'll be so much money lost over that, but that's none of my concern. But they paid fans to come to the event to be ambassadors. There are people from England and Wales that have been paid to go to that event. And when they touched down on the soil, they were basically they were promised they would be paid to go to the event. Whether I agree with that or not, I don't. But when they touched down the soil, they were basically told, "Oh wait, actually the cash has run out. You're not getting any penny." So there's just a devious kind of undercurrent to an awful lot of situations with regards to this World Cup. And we can sit here and we can be hyperbolic and we can scream and we can jump up and down, but we can't change it. And I can't change it. And everybody who's listened to this podcast for more than the last couple of months, who's listened to it since its inception, knows that I think international football is as boring a situation as you can possibly ever come across. I would watch Steven Gerrard for 20 years without going to sleep with my eyes sellotaped open. I would watch Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa play against Fulham on repeat for 20 years over and over and over again than to watch some of these games in the World Cup. And this isn't me being a snowflake, just coming at it from this angle that everybody's coming at now. I don't really enjoy international football. I don't. It's like Mourinho versus Mourinho is what it is. And Mourinho versus George Graham is what it's like for any older listeners out there. And I will watch games in the World Cup. Obviously, I will watch. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not going to watch it. There will be a lot of games, but I'm not going to religiously sit there and watch 3 games a day. And some people will, and that's absolutely fine. You guys can do that. I just don't enjoy international football as much as I do club football. And even my beloved Ireland, I don't enjoy watching Ireland as much as I would enjoy watching Aston Villa. Call me unpatriotic if you want, but I just think that it's too. You could go out and you can make 2 cups of tea during the first half of most of those international matches, and you come in, you mightn't have missed anything, And for me, look, that's just the way I feel about it. But yeah, this World Cup is a weird one. It's one that as I say, there's a lot of feeling about it. There's a lot of emotion about it. I wanted to just kind of get my side of where I come from. With regards to it, I don't agree with the loss of human life to build the stadiums. I don't agree with essentially the indentured servitude that went on over there. I don't agree with the paying of fans to go and then reneging at the last minute. I don't agree with 2 days out from the start of the World Cup changing a commercial deal, and all that kind of stuff doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen. And like if you make an agreement, you should stick to it from a commercial point of view. And also, human life has to be number one, no matter what you're doing in this world. Human life has to be number one with regards to it. And that's it. That's where I want. That's my feelings in the World Cup. And as I say, I personally don't think they're too controversial. But if you guys don't agree with me, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to ever fall out with anyone over it. But
okay,
that's it. So I feel about it.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, well, I told you I was going to go on. You actually messaged me and said I don't know a whole pile about what's going on.
No, well, look, I'm just going to give a complete alternative to what you said, because for me, the World Cup defines an era of a football fan. No matter who you talk to about football, they will probably have fallen in love with football during a World Cup. Will they fall in love with a World Cup during November and December when kids are looking forward to Santa Claus and Christmas, when they're doing other things to make things fun? Probably not. But all of this falls on the plate of FIFA, who awarded this to Qatar. Now, you can boycott the World Cup, you can boycott games, you can do whatever you like. I will watch games. I won't watch all the games because it's just, the World Cup to me is huge. It's absolutely the pinnacle of a footballer's career. I was lucky enough to go to Italia 90 as a 14-year-old child with my parents. There is absolutely nothing like a well-run World Cup. Yeah. We got to travel the length and breadth of Italy. We stayed in 5-star hotels and we also stayed in a tent. That's just the extent of what goes on at a World Cup. It is absolutely amazing to go to an international tournament. I've been to 2 European Championships. And to be honest, if I had the money, I wouldn't have gone to this World Cup. If Ireland have qualified and I had the money, I wouldn't have gone to this World Cup. Because to me, the World Cup is about having fun, which I don't see any fun in being in Qatar for. Yeah. No, I'm sure there's many people will tell you otherwise. You can have plenty of fun in Qatar, but the down days we'll go back to 2016, which would be my latest memory of going to France for the European Championships.
Yes.
The down days are special, and just as special as the games themselves. Like, I remember watching England and Wales in a pub in La Rochelle, and half the pub cheering for England, and half the pub cheering for Wales, and it was just great crack. I just can't imagine that's going to happen in Qatar. You know, we walked around La Rochelle swapping hats and scarves with different types of fans who were playing. Like, it was near Bordeaux, so that was kind of the nearest holiday resort to Bordeaux, and that's where we spent most of our time at Euro 2016. And I just can't warm to playing in Qatar. It just never made any sense. And the one thing, like, we know that there's, and I stand over the fact that there should be no politics involved in sport. Absolutely none. It should be all about having fun, having the crack with your mates, enjoying the game as it's supposed to be enjoyed, but most of all, being friendly, being nice, and the host nation being nice. And we haven't seen any of that. It just has the potential to fall on its face. You're going to have to look at the likes of the people who are going there, people who are paid to go there, locals going to matches. I'd imagine there's going to be empty seats in this. I just can't see how the stadia are going to be full. You're talking about 3 matches a day for the next 2 weeks, and it just irks me a little bit. I just can't see how those games where let's face it, the two teams that aren't going to win the group play each other. Who's going to? Are they going to pay?
Oh yeah, like I can't see a full stadium for Ecuador. And two good teams, Ecuador versus Senegal. Like, that's just that it just pops into my mind because I know that they're in the same group. I'd be surprised if there was a full stadium for that game. You know, no, there could be, as I say. And look, I'm going to say it as well. Look, out the other side of my mouth, I'm all for FIFA wanting to spread the reach of the game and host a big tournament in different parts of the world. I'm okay with it. Logistically, This one makes no sense in the fact that you've to literally uproot the majority of the European leagues. For where, let's be honest with ourselves, the money in football is, it's kind of keeping an awful lot of the interest in football. You have to uproot those in November, and I am going to say that from a selfish point of view because I think this is really it's an unnecessary break in the club game, and my colours have been pinned to the mast in that already. But then what it is it became all about money, and it became all about look, I won't get into the commercial side of things. I suppose really what I wanted to culminate my whole speech, my whole next monologue that I was going to go on. I'd save you guys 15 minutes, and I just won't go on about the commercial and sponsorship part. But I'll culminate it all with the fact that in the VIP areas and in the corporate boxes at games, they're going to be able to serve as many of these bottles as they possibly want, because the important people, quote unquote, who are the people who probably got their tickets for free and didn't pay for them and are there on corporate junkets and everything, they're going to be able to get absolutely gee-eyed inside in the box, no problem to themselves. And the fan who's paid out of his pocket or was paid to go brought over there under false pretenses of being an ambassador won't be able to have a drink in the stadium. Now, I'm not too gone. I don't usually drink at matches anyway. I do my drinking beforehand. I do my drinking afterwards. I go there and I watch the match. But you know what I'm getting at? Some people will be there for the crack, as Paddy said. That's okay, and that's what I'm looking for. Obviously, this is in a country where the laws are that, you know, that alcohol is frowned upon and stuff like that. But all these determinations should have been taken into account. Like Budweiser, like what were Budweiser thinking? Like, you know, I know you have to be involved with the World Cup. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't get involved in the sponsorship there. But you surely have something ironclad there, and I'm sure that we'll hear more about this as the time goes on.
Look, as somebody who worked in the sponsorship game for a long time, you're going to be looking at there's probably going to be some kind of lawsuit coming down the line from many sponsors over what's gone on here, and Budweiser will just be one of the top. At the end of the day, for a sponsor like that to be one of the head sponsors of the World Cup, just to put a bit of perspective on it, because I read a lot today about Budweiser should pull out, Budweiser should do this. Yeah, you're probably right. But then the World Cup comes to America, and all of a sudden they've been gazumped by Corona, whoever, Guinness, whatever, all brands, whatever, will be vying for that spot. But once you have it, you don't lose it. That's why the World Cup football has always been an Adidas football. These things don't change because people don't step away from them, because they're such a huge, monumental part of people's football supporting lives. Like the 1986 World Cup for me I can nearly pinpoint to the day I fell in love with football, in the 1986 World Cup. I know you were only one at that stage, so it was no good to you.
It might have only been a couple of months, maybe. Yeah, that was held in June, end of June, if I'm not mistaken, started. So I was born in the middle of April. So
all right, okay. Yeah, so I was 10 years old.
To be honest with you, Paddy,
10 years old.
I was 2.5 months premature. I don't even think I was out of hospital at that stage. No, but before we go on, we'll do the whole podcast on how I'm a miracle, by the way, in later on. That could be one for Christmas. We can talk about it. Me in the same vein as the baby Jesus. Yeah, I think we'll get away with that one. Yeah.
But it is important, and I just can't see any way that this World Cup is going to breed a generation of football fans. I think it's going to be a shit show from start to finish. The talks about the gambling on the first game, all of these things are just leave a bad, fair taste in your mouth. Just like John had thinking about a beer.
Paddy drinks Bud. Do you? Yeah, but
Paddy does drink Bud because Paddy has a stomach issue, and Bud just happens to agree with that stomach issue and allows me to drink beer. So it has to be mild enough. So Bud fits the bill for what I can drink.
Yeah. No, you mentioned a couple of things there, Paddy. Sorry, I've interrupted you twice now, and I think that you were talking about the 1986 World Cup when you fell in love with it. Go on with that story there, because I did rudely interrupt you.
Yeah, well, you look back at magic games at a World Cup. It's just incredible to look at, and you remember what you were doing and going out in the back garden and trying to replicate what Maradona did in 1986. Not the handball one, obviously, the other one. Josimar scoring for Brazil against Northern Ireland. All of these magic goals, and I was a little bit younger for 82, or I barely remember them, but I remember everybody around me watching it. All I wanted to do was go out and climb trees and climb up on people's roofs and stuff like that. But
at that age, Robin led off people's roofs.
Robin led at that age, yeah. But the point I'm making is we're looking at a break in tradition. We're looking at a World Cup in December, and in this part of the world, there'll be no kids running out into the garden to try and replicate whatever Harry Kane does or whatever Messi does, because you can't, because your back garden is waterlogged.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot more reasons why we should be pissed off at this. I would imagine we're going to have water breaks. I don't know that for sure. Looks like it's pretty hot up there. I saw the England team standing in front of fans that were blowing out water. When I say fans, I mean physical fans, not people fans, to try and cool themselves down. And they were absolutely dripping in sweat. I've never seen anything like it. So it's going to be a strange one. Trying to predict it is going to be really difficult as well.
And we're going to try and do that in a moment. We're going to try and solicit some of your help in a moment, everybody, to do our FIFA World Cup bracket, whatever that means. We're going to try that.
But look, I just want to say that it's a World Cup. Let the kids watch it. I know that they will in years realize what's going on here, but at the end of the day, all of the best footballers in the world, some are missing out obviously, but most of the best footballers in the world are going there, some of them for the last time, to showcase their talents. Whatever your decision is, whether you want to watch it or not, if the kids want to watch it, let them watch it, because it's an important builder for, like, I have a 12-year-old daughter that I brought to the Ireland game last night. She got home at 1:30 this morning, asleep in the car, woke up and went, "Thanks, Daddy, that was a great day out." So you just don't know what kind of response you're going to get to these guys watching the World Cup. Ireland lost yesterday. But she's already talking about what could happen in the next few weeks, and talking about Messi and talking about Ronaldo and talking about all the footballers that she likes and likes the look of and all that kind of thing. So, it's important for boys as it is for girls. And unfortunately, my son is going to be doing exams in the middle of this World Cup. So just everything about it is completely wrong.
Yeah. I want to clarify something. Like, obviously, I said I prefer, like, international football just doesn't float my boat. I'm not going to watch every game, but you mentioned a couple of great examples there. Obviously, if you're Irish and you're watching this, everybody is going to remember the absolutely fantastic line from George Hamilton, where he said, "A nation holds its breath," when Timofti stood up to take that penalty for Romania, and Paki Bonner was in goals, and he saved it. And do you know what? There was no debate back then in 1990 when that ball was saved as to whether it was a good penalty or a bad penalty. Should he have saved it? Should he not have saved it? And to this day, you won't hear anybody in any pub in Ireland or any of the Irish diaspora, anywhere in the world, talk about whether it was a good penalty or a bad penalty, or whether he should have saved it or he shouldn't have. It was just a moment of all moments. And to bring it full circle with Aston Villa, Dave O'Leary steps up afterwards and sticks it in the back of the net to win the shootout for Ireland. Things like that. Things like I remember it's only as I've grown older that I've begun to kind of get disillusioned with international football. But like when I was a kid in 1994, I was only 9 years of age, and I'll never forget my dad and myself and one of my dad's friends were watching Ireland-Italy in USA. I think my dad he came home from work early, if I'm not mistaken. I think the game was on like at 5 o'clock. It was I think it was something like that, maybe 6 o'clock. He came home from work early, and I remember we were watching it, and I had learned how to play the Irish national anthem on a tin whistle. Now, if you think I'm annoying now, 9-year-old me was like me on every type of drug that you could possibly think of. I was a hyper child. And I remember when they scored, that I was playing the tin whistle, and my mother came in and just took one look at me, and I was like, I better stop this now because someone's going to fire me out through the front window if I don't stop. It was the first. I not only did I have the elation of that goal from Ray Houghton when he chipped Gianluca Pagliuca, and actually Gianluca Pagliuca became an Aston Villa fan on the back of that after Ray Houghton scored that goal. So there's bringing it back Villa again. But not only is that a great moment, but also it was the first time I can remember of myself actually being self-aware. So there are two things in that for sure. And look, let's not forget 2002, Paddy, the pubs opening up at crazy o'clock in the morning. Japan and Korea, Ireland playing against Cameroon. Ireland playing against Spain. Steve Staunton bringing it back. Villa again. Steve Staunton, centre half for Ireland at like about 45 years of age, after breaking the 100 cap barrier in that World Cup. Everyone had written him off, and he goes over there and has a brilliant World Cup at centre half for Ireland. And we lost out in a hair's breadth to Spain in the quarterfinals. And like I've just said that I don't really like international football, but I'm actually getting giddy thinking about those halcyon days back then when, as you said, it was a spark. There was something that really made it kind of happen. And look, maybe there will be a spark in this one as well, but I don't know.
Well, look, as I said earlier, one part of me is kind of happy that Ireland aren't there, because I was never going to be there regardless. How to ask a football fan to travel to that part of the world with the expense of Christmas around the corner is absolute madness. So this World Cup is a World Cup for the rich, I feel. And that's the long and the short of it. And I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but if your kids want to watch the match, let them watch the match. It doesn't matter. The politics of it don't matter once kids are watching football. And it's an important time. We won't see another tournament for another 3.5 years. So let them do it.
I'm just going to look back at something in the comments here. That's a new one on me. I'm not going to pop it up on the screen, but right. I think that's the first time. Okay. Anyway, let's. I must have
missed that one. I must have been on my rant, was I?
Well, we'll see.
Okay, I
Right.
see it.
Right. Let's
Carry on.
let's share screen. Let's share screen here. So, guys, what we are going to do. What we are going to do is, after all of that, and 35 minutes in, when I only wanted to do a 5 minute monologue on what my thoughts are on the World Cup. 35 minutes into the podcast, we now come to another piece that we wanted to do. We're going to try and predict. Oh, Paddy, good man. Paddy, you can see there has, for the Love of Paul McGrath pint glasses. If you do wish to get them, they are on our website, for the loveofpaulmcgrath.com. You can click in there. Potentially, we may have something else coming very, very soon as well, something that people ask us about probably over 4 times a day. We may actually finally have sorted out something for worldwide fans as well, not just UK, it's for worldwide fans. So it's a keep an eye out. And I don't want to big it up too much because I just have to do a small bit of beta testing on it tomorrow before, just to make sure that it can actually go live. So keep an ear out for that. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and predict the World Cup with your help. It's going to be a group effort. Think of this like blockchain prediction. I couldn't think of another word to come up with it. We're going to do this as a community, and we're going to try and pick absolutely who's going to win all the groups, who's going to win the semi-final, the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finally the World Cup. And then that way, if we're going to do it tonight, we're going to predict it, and that way we don't have to watch it. How does that make everyone feel? There we go. So we're going to know.
I'm happy to say I did this because I didn't trust you to leave me in the lurch. So I actually did it before it started, because I was gone. Surely there's some predictor out there that I can use. So I did actually go through it.
I went through a couple of predictors as well. The FIFA, the one on the FIFA site is it's so is what I would call it, and I can't even click on start now. Would you believe? Because for whatever. Playing out. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this. Matt Hallinan, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Matt. That is really, really kind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
So let us open this up. So all right, this is called the FIFA Bracket Challenge. So what we have here is we have all the groups, and together we're going to try and predict who's going to finish top, second, third, and fourth in each group. All right. Quick fire, Paddy. Quick fire. Let's try and get this one done. Okay, I think it's fair enough to say that we're probably going to put the Netherlands in the top 2 in this group.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to put them
number 1.
Oh, FIFA. Oh, you're kidding. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to auto pick. Okay, right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move them around. Okay, so Netherlands are number 1. Who's going to finish second in that group, Paddy?
Isn't it funny they predicted Qatar was going to win that group?
Ivan Toney did the same thing.
Ecuador for me. Ecuador.
No, because Sadio Mane is out.
I didn't realize that. Anyway,
Sadio Mane had an operation today. He's out of the World Cup, gone. He had to have a tendon reattached to his upper thigh. Yeah, so he's out. And I presume we're going to go Senegal and Qatar. In this group, I'm going to talk very, very briefly as we go through this. In this group, I think there's 2 or 3 players I'm going to do some scouting series on. It's not going to be for everybody. I know that. I'm not saying they're going to sign for Aston Villa. Something I enjoy doing. I want to keep content coming over the course of the World Cup. Specifically on the Senegal team, there's 2 players I want to take a look at. One of them I've looked at before. Unfortunately, is a Spurs player, Papa Matar. I'm going to re-look at him again since he has signed for Spurs and has been out on loan again. And then there's another player from Senegal that I want to take a look at. But nice, and a nice little group there. Well, and Ecuador, Senegal will be a nice little tussle, I think, in that group. But I do think that the Netherlands will finish top. Louis van Gaal in his last managerial position ever. I think he's going to want to go out on a high for the Netherlands, although they're not going to win it. They will win that group, I think. Moving on to Group B, Paddy. Well, England.
We're not going to fall out with anybody, so I think England won Wales too.
I think if England were only allowed backheel the ball, I think that they'll win that group.
Well, you know, I do. Yeah, I wouldn't agree. Now there's going to be that easy. There's going to be difficult games in there, and they're not going to go and spank people in this group. Especially given Iran will be very well used to the climate that we're going to be playing in, so we'll wait and see. But I won't disagree with few people say Wales might finish below USA, but I think they've got enough heart to get into the knockout stage.
For the record, I think Senegal are going to finish above Ecuador there, but we're going to go with Paddy in this one because I want the tiebreaker later on. So that's how I'm doing this.
Is this your tiebreaker? This is the hard one.
No, so who do you think is going to finish second? I just ranked them there.
Purely because of Lewandowski, I'm going to go Poland second.
No, wait, no, group. So we're okay with Group B there. England, Wales.
Oh yeah. No, that's it. I think the next one is the hardest one.
Next one is a banger of a group because I think Mexico are. I genuinely would love to do a scouting series on about 6 players for Mexico. I just think they're such a fun team. They always are. They're always a real fun team. Like even you go back to the days of Cuauhtemoc Blanco and the day that he did that little bunny hop with the ball out of the corner and he had about 4 players around him. And you go back to all those, they've had some very good players whose names are really escaping me now. But Mexico are a fun team. But Argentina, I think we agree will finish top. They've had a lot of injuries, Paddy, actually. They've had a lot of injuries. Nico Gonzalez, a player who I had a scouting series done on, who I think is brilliant and would have been absolutely perfect for Aston Villa. Very, very good player. He's out. Carrera is out. There's another left back as well that's out for them. So they've had 3 or 4 players had to leave their squad since they've gotten to Qatar. But I still think they should have enough to win it. Any team with Emi Martinez in there should be good enough to win that.
You would think so. You would think so. Look, I just think they're too strong. I think there's a good togetherness there. I just think that second place is the one that it could go either way. It could come down to goal difference at the end of it, I think. It could come down to goals conceded against Argentina. But it's just that's the toughest one from what I can see to pick a second place team.
I agree with you. I think Poland are going to get in there. I think Lewandowski will score. I think that it's going to be who puts up the cricket score on Saudi Arabia. Bringing it back to Ireland again, Gary Breen has scored one of the greatest goals ever scored against Saudi Arabia. That outside of the boot flick from the cross. I remember we were allowed to take 3 hours off. We had a 3-hour lunch break to watch it. I was in the office I was working in at the time, and we all watched it in the big boardroom, and none of us could even believe that he put that in the back of the net. But Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken, the same World Cup, Miroslav Klose scored 4 goals against them in Korea and Japan. Was it Korea and Japan? Yes, it was.
One of the golden boot,
Yeah, and I think that Saudi Arabia are going to be, unfortunately, they're going to be whoever can put up the most goals against them will finish second. And I think I agree with you on that one. I think it could be a 1-1 draw, something like that between Poland and Mexico. I think both teams could lose to Argentina. I think Argentina sweep the group, and then I think it's whoever scores the most against Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we skip past the USA, I know, but Matt wants to buy a win for the USA.
We put USA in second for a time. USA actually, you know what? The USA have brought a really young squad. They've got this young guy, is it Musa from Arsenal, who is supposed to be the bee's knees, and they've like the USA have been sneakily infiltrating their younger players in and around Europe as well. So they will be full of effort and energy, and even the likes of Brendan Aronson that has moved to Leeds recently. Playing in the Premier League. USA won't be a pushover at all. Group D, Paddy. Look at this. The auto picker put France last. I presume we can put France top. I presume that's probably the way you think it might finish.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Tunisia. I'm going to do that.
Well, it won't really matter which way that goes, but the top 2 I won't argue with at all.
Yeah. Next one, I think probably that's
auto picked for me. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be.
Do you think? This is where we do need to know who's first and second because.
It's important for the knockout stages. Yeah. I just think Germany aren't in the best form, so I think Spain will beat them, and that's probably why I think Spain will finish top.
Yeah, Richard, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Cheers, Richard.
Thank you. It's really, really appreciated. I saw Germany against Oman, and they looked haphazard in parts. But
I thought you didn't like international football.
I watched him because I was watching Nicholas Fullstring, the 29-year-old striker that they're after bringing in the squad. It's literally he's like the Jamie Vardy of German football. So that's why I watched I watched highlights of it. Okay, but there's something about Germany, like there is just something about Germany. I think Spain will probably have too much. Actually, did anyone see Luis Enrique's Twitch? He did a 2-hour Twitch interview today with fans and took questions and everything. My God, if I ever grow up, I want to be as cool as Luis Enrique. He is a cool man. Himself and Pirlo are right up there with coolness. Like, it's just... Anyway, if you guys haven't seen clips of it, he's a cool kid. Anyway, on to Group F. I think I'm okay with that, Spain and Germany. On to Group F. This is a tough group because while I think Canada finished bottom, and I think Croatia obviously getting to the final of the Euros recently, I don't know. I don't know about Croatia. Morocco could be dark horses there.
Well, when you've got the likes of Ziyech scoring from the halfway line like you did yesterday, anything is possible. I actually would go against what you have there. I think Croatia are going to top that group. I just don't see Belgium gelling. World ranking should tell you that they finished top of the group, but I think Croatia, just very strong side, very technically a very strong side, very hard to break down, regroup very well. But like we keep saying, the weather is going to be a huge issue here. The heat is going to be phenomenal. So it's about who can cope with that and see and we'll know after maybe Tuesday or Wednesday how people are coping with it. But it's a toss of a coin between Belgium and Croatia. I'd have either, but I guess we get a couple of votes in and see who.
This is one I want to canvas. I want to canvas the onlookers. Where do you see this group going? Because I think this is this one and probably Group H, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Group G. This one here: Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon, Brazil. Brazil are going to. We'll get onto that in a moment.
Yeah.
Let's canvas the group. What do people think? Put into the chat there. Who do you think? So first, second, third. Who do you think is going to finish in that order? Look, we might as well go fourth as well because some people might think that Canada might pip Morocco, and they could do. While you guys are doing that, I'm just going to mention a couple of like there's some really talented players in this Belgian squad, and like Jeremy Doku from Rennes. Flaking player, like a speed merchant. He himself and Luis Openda. Everybody's talking about like the Dries Mertens. Dries Mertens 35, if not 36. Torgan Hazard, Trossard will be in there. You've got players like Batshuayi, Hazard, Lukaku. You'd be expecting Hazard and Lukaku to want to go out in their swan songs because I don't see Romelu Lukaku playing at 33 in another World Cup. He could very well, but I don't see it. His body isn't taking well to kind of football as it is, and I just don't see it. But they've got players like Luis Openda, they've got players like Jeremy Doku, they've got the Ketelar however you pronounce it. They've got that physical freak Onana from Everton. You even go down Zeno de Bast, the defender that they've taken with them as well. Arthur Thiaté, we saw playing for Rennes against us in pre-season. They've brought a lot of young players here, and they're going to blood these players in this tournament. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them, to see somebody from this Belgian squad make a real name for themselves, one of the young players. I think Belgian football is, while it's obviously got its golden age at the moment with the De Bruynes and the Hazards and the Lukakus and all that, I think that there's a crop coming up underneath that will be able to replace those players. That's just what I believe.
But look, they've been huffing and puffing since the late 70s. They've never got themselves into a position where they could go win the tournament. This is probably the golden age. Let's face it. This is probably the best Belgian squad that went to a world. Like, they were the number one in the world for the last 3 or 4 years. They've only just recently got off the top spot. So I just think there's a soft centre there. I just think they're lacking in defence, and that's what's going to undo them, unfortunately.
A couple of people are saying Canada in second place. I know this. No, and it's it's okay to entertain it. If I'm not mistaken, well, Junior Highlight's only 32. Wow. Like, they have a decent strike force. Like genuinely, they have like Jonathan David, Alfonso Davies, Kyle Larin are very good players. You've got the likes of Ike Ugbo, who was playing with, if I'm not mistaken, he was at Chelsea. Yes, he was at Chelsea, and he went on loan then to the Dutch leagues, and he tore it up there. A pretty decent striker. And he played with England up to under 20 level. Still hasn't scored for Canada. As you can tell, I am Googling like mad here at the moment. But like, you go back the field, they've got a Thibaut Hutchinson, 39 years of age. Like, it's not often now I can turn around and say, that lad is almost 2 years older than me, and he's going to play in the World Cup. Like, fair play to him is all I'd say.
I think Ad is of my generation. Enzo Schifo, what a player!
Enzo Schifo, yeah. Okay. The public have spoken, and I don't know whether we're going to represent them or not, but I think a lot of people are saying Belgium number one, Belgium number one, Belgium number one. Yeah. I think that's what it is. So I think it's going to be Belgium, Croatia, and then some people are saying Canada, and I think Morocco have finished bottom. I'd be blown away with a feather if Morocco finished bottom in that group. But as I say, there's always one team that you don't expect to falter that always falters in the World Cup. It's usually the Netherlands. Let's call a spade a shovel here, but I don't think they're going to do it this year. Anyway,
well, I was in Morocco on my holidays this year, and
a fantastic spot. I'm going to retire to Morocco.
The people of Morocco are very, very, very confident that they're going to get through this group. So, unless they know something we don't know, I just can't see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe sorry there. Okay, so Group G: Brazil, Switzerland, Cameroon, and Serbia.
This is a tough group.
Very tough.
I move Serbia in behind Brazil. That's just my opinion. I just think they're very hard to break down, and Switzerland are very passive. Cameroon, you don't know what you're going to get. You really don't know what you're going to get. So that would be the way I would, without knowing what Cameroon have to offer. That's what I would. That's the way I'd lay out the group.
So my thoughts on this are, it wouldn't have even been a discussion. I would put Brazil, Switzerland, Serbia, Cameroon, and moved on. Up until last night, or not last night, about 2 nights ago, Ghana beat Switzerland. And I know it's only a warm-up game, but the Switzerland team of the last Euros were very dogged. They were very, like, Jan Sommer was playing like a man possessed in goals. He really was. He's not there. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not. He is. I'm looking at the Serbian squad. Sorry, I'm looking at the Serbian squad there because I wanted to check something. I'm put it this way: if Ireland would play Serbia, and they did, I'd nearly go Switzerland.
The problem I have with Switzerland is they're very passive. They'll defend well. They'll be dogged, but can they score goals? Can they irk it out? Can they can they grind out 1-0 wins? They can't. Not when it comes to tournament situation. I always feel with Switzerland, they do their absolute utmost to get to a tournament, only to bore the pants off you when they get there. So, for me, it will be Serbia. Your choice,
Are you saying Switzerland are too neutral in their approach?
How many beers have you?
Well, I've floored two bottles in the space of about 10 minutes. So, no, looking at the Switzerland team, the biggest problem for Switzerland is they're going to be struggling for goals. Breland Bolo, fine player, but one of the things there is he sparked for some games in the last Euros. They've got Haris Seferovic as well there. He's their top scorer. Well, after Shaqiri, he's going to be their top scorer there. So they are going to struggle. Like, Shaqiri's now playing in the MLS with Chicago Fire. You'd be expecting him to be rested up to be able to come. And that's no disrespect to the MLS, but you'd be expecting Shaqiri to come there and to be all guns blazing at 31 years of age, probably his last World Cup again. If you're in the MLS at 31, you probably don't see yourself playing football at 35, and unfortunately, I think that's the way it is. Saying that, their defense is still pretty robust with Fabian Schär, Akanji, Elvedi, the likes of Sylvain Wilbur, Ricardo Rodriguez with that wand of a left foot. So they're not a complete hopeless case at all, I don't think. And I think that's going to be the real interesting one for me. Some players to look out for them are Noah Okafor, playing with Salzburg. For sure, he's definitely somebody to look out for on that squad. But yeah. And also Remo Fuller, who's playing with Nottingham Forest, one of the 48,475 players that they brought in this summer. Watch him play for Switzerland. He's a completely different beast. If he plays, he's a completely different beast in there. They also have Jibril Sow. Their midfield is actually quite good. It's quite dogged, as you said, and it'll be tough to break them down with like Xhaka, Zakaria, Edmilson Fernandez, Jibril Sow, and the likes of Remo Fuller. They could do a full on Alec McLeish and play forward central midfielders across the middle and make it difficult for teams. So I think it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Switzerland will get in there. And for that reason, Paddy, I'm calling in my veto and I'm putting Switzerland in there, and they're going to draw 2 games. And
I don't know who they're playing towards, but I'm going to put my money on Granit Xhaka being suspended for the 3rd game.
Yeah, there's money. There's money well spent. We go into Group H. God, how long have we been going? Oh, we're coming up in an hour, Paddy. Come on, we'll knock this out in an hour. So we've got about 5 minutes left. Group H.
I think we're going to differ on this one. Anyway, off you go.
I don't know what way we're going to go in this one. I think. Okay, I don't want. That's the way I think it's going to be.
I don't agree.
Go for it.
I think Portugal are going to finish 3rd in this group behind Uruguay and Ghana. I think Ronaldo is eating Portugal at the moment, and they're going to go.
Wicked players, Paddy, though, outside of him.
But it doesn't matter. All it needs is one bad egg, one rotten apple, and I just they showed so many videos in the last couple of days. They're not a together unit at all. Now the manager might sort that out between now and the second game will be probably most important if they lose the first one. But I think Portugal is eating itself. That's the only conclusion I can come to. And for the second time in a few weeks, we'll be laughing at Ronaldo. That's exactly what I think. But
I'd love it. I'd love it. I would love it. But I think one of my favorite footballers at this moment in time is a guy by the name of João Mario, 30-ish-year-old player for a Portuguese guy. I just think he's a consummate professional, really, really good midfielder. And whenever I see him play, I go, "Oh my God, I wish he was like 22." I'd be like screaming for Villa to sign him. This is exactly it. Richard has put in here, but I'm not sure I agree that it's too much pressure, because I think the monkey is off Portugal's back after winning the Euros a couple of years ago. I think it is, and I think they don't care about pressure, and I think they know that they can push through because they obviously see that Ronaldo is aging, and obviously this crack that went down during the week is what it is. But I just can't see them not getting out of that group. I think the talent is too much. Now, saying that, Ronaldo could be the Edgar Davids of this group that pulls the whole thing down, and like Davids did to the Netherlands in 98, was it 98? I think it was, pulled the whole thing down. And they had a poor World Cup. I'm okay to leave it like this because I could see it happening. I think
you're okay with like this because I think you might be happy with that. But I think that's the main thing that could happen. The big surprise. I know the last time was it Germany that didn't qualify for the next round. The last time.
We know big teams like Brazil had a collapse.
Yeah,
there's been times when Argentina couldn't get out of their own way. France with Evra going nuts. Yeah, all that. So let's move on because I'm just conscious of time. I'm going to see if I can auto pick this as well. Okay, let's see if we can move these around. Yes, we can. Okay, so Netherlands and Wales. Who's going to win?
Netherlands.
Argentina, Denmark. Argentina. Spain and Croatia.
Croatia.
I can't see Spain.
You don't agree? You don't feel free to go yourself.
I don't. I think Spain. I think Spain win that. I think they do. I think Spain are coming into this humming.
That's fair enough.
And I think Brazil are coming into this humming. And I'm going to make the executive decision on that. Brazil and Ghana. England and Ecuador.
England.
Poland and France.
France.
Belgium and Germany.
Belgium.
You were telling me Belgium weren't even going to get out of the group a minute ago.
I just don't rate Germany at all. I think if they get out, they're goosed.
Uruguay and Switzerland. Uruguay,
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go back up to the top here again. Netherlands and Argentina.
Argentina, yeah.
Argentina, Spain and Brazil.
Brazil.
Brazil, England and France.
And this is where I fall out with everybody in the comments. France.
I think so too. I just think France are very good. And Belgium and Uruguay.
Uruguay.
So now we're into the semi-finals. Argentina and Brazil. What a banger that would be.
I just think this is brilliant. I think my heart is telling me Argentina. I think it could go either way, but yeah.
I can tell you something here. Everybody who watches the podcast knows I love an Argentinian footballer called Guido Rodriguez. I can see Guido Rodriguez kicking Neymar 14 feet up into the sky, and by the time he comes down, Messi has a goal scored. I can see something mad like that happening. And it would make me so happy to see Messi win a World Cup. It just really would.
Yeah.
What do we think?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I think. I think this is Messi's time. I think it's his last one. I just think I think the swashbuckler here is the semi-final and the final for Argentina. I think if they can get over Brazil, and then spoiler alert, I think it'll be France in the final with them. But I just think that's when we get to the business end of this. Jesus, it's strange that this is going to be a week before Christmas, but anyway, it's going to be fun. I think when it gets to that stage, I'm worth watching, and I think the whole world will be cheering on Messi, with the exception of maybe Portuguese people. Yeah,
look, I would like Brazil. Brazil probably have the best collection of players going to the tournament, but this one's going to be heart over head, and I'm going to go. I think Brazil. I think Argentina as well. France and Uruguay.
Still can't believe how we got Uruguay to that far in the tournament, but yeah, France.
we're all talking about Messi, Luis Suarez, and the Uruguayan team. You know, I'm sure there's parts of South America would love to see him lift one before he retires. And then that leaves us with an Argentina and France World Cup. And who do we have as the winner?
Well,
is that correct? Is that what we think?
Well, I think that's what everybody wants. I think like we've no interest in this tournament, so it's just purely neutral. I think for me, I would love to see Argentina win this World Cup. I think it's just and it's purely heart. It's purely heart in the fact that we've got this man in goals that Messi loves, and Messi is he's the second best footballer I've ever seen. The best footballer I've ever seen is Argentinian. Messi is the second best footballer, and he's also Argentinian. So it's just going to be. I think it's going to be a brilliant week that week, looking at the semi-final and finals and seeing how they pan out. But for me, it's Argentina.
Argentina. Excellent. We're going to lock it in, Paddy, and we're going to save it. Oh no, I don't want to create a FIFA account. You know, so what we'll do is, the beauty about this is on YouTube. We can always go back and see how right or how wrong we were afterwards. That is the beauty of it. So guys, we're massively we're an hour and 3 minutes. I didn't expect it to go this long. We covered an awful lot of ground today. Look, I think people would like it. Would like something like that. For Argentina.
I put on a bet for the Aston Villa Foundation today.
Yes.
Top goal scorer of the tournament, 50-1, Julian Alvarez. €5, 50 to 1. If he does it, it goes to the Aston Villa Foundation.
Got me thinking. I don't think that's going to win, but
I just think it has potential. That if he got a run and scored a couple of goals early in the tournament, I think he'd be picked in every game, and I think that would be enough for him to get the golden boot. So that's what I think is that's just an off the wall bet just for the Aston Villa Foundation. Rex seems to think that Kane is going to get a lot of penalties, so easy to get that wrong.
I'd be surprised. Not the penalties. I wouldn't be surprised if he was top goal scorer.
Kane? Yeah, no, absolutely not. And look, that's why Julian Alvarez is 50 to 1, and that's why I picked that one.
Do you know who could be the smart bet? One moment now. And by the way, guys, we are not condoning betting. It's something that we do as a hobby, not as a profession. And when the fun stops, stop for sure. Olivier Giroud. I'm just looking here to see. He's probably not going to start every game, so then it's probably going to be Karim Benzema. But we talk about all these players that are at this World Cup. Genuinely, guys, go find me a more consistent striker over the course of his career than Olivier Giroud. It's at that amongst that level of players, he's up there with the Benzemas. He's up there with all those. I've long said it. When it's all said and done, he's that striker that no one remembers because he scored that back heel goal, which was fantastic, but he doesn't score screamers from outside the box. Olivier Giroud is an underrated footballer. Anyway. Right, so guys, we're going to leave it at that on that bombshell. We're going to leave it at that. An hour and 6 minutes in. Thanks so much to everybody for watching. As I said, content ain't going anywhere here over the course of the World Cup. Maybe a bit sparse over the next week or so. My acting gig is beginning to come. It's getting to crunch time. I will be finished that come next Saturday night, and then I'm hoping to plow into content again. Then scouting content and stuff to do with players I'm liking the look of it in the World Cup. And look, it'll be a bit of crack, it'll be a bit of fun. I just want to keep things going over the course of the World Cup period as well. But thanks so much, everybody, for watching.
Your acting gig is never going to end. You're gonna act here with me on a regular basis and pretend we know about football. It'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Acting the maggot comes naturally. But no, listen, thanks a million, everybody, for watching. It's 20 to 11 here in Ireland, and I got to get some shut-eye, as does, I'm sure, everybody else here. But thanks a million. It's been a pleasure to be with you guys tonight. We've covered a lot of ground, as I say. World Cup starts on Sunday. Watch it. Do whatever you want with it, as I say. But the big thing here is that all our players come home happy, hale and hearty, and all ready for the push under Unai Emery. But we will watch them with intent over the course of the next few weeks and see what happens. But thanks very much, everybody, for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.